Action!
Welcome to another itty bitty lecture brought to you by Mrs. Saunders. Today we're going to talk about the process of elimination. This is a handy skill to have if you plan on passing multiple choice tests in your lifetime. And here's a shock. Today you don't have to take notes. All I want you to do is just listen. Got it? When it comes to taking tests, a lot of you get really stressed out. You feel like you've been struck by lightning and you just want to scream. The best piece of advice that I can give you for when you're taking a test is to relax. It might be an important test, but it is not the end-all be-all of your existence. The next thing you need to do is while you're actually taking your test is to remember to breathe. Oxygen is important to your brain. When you're taking a test, something called the process of elimination can be your best friend. You've probably heard of it, but maybe you haven't slowed down and stopped to think about what it actually means. So here's what it actually means. The process of elimination is actually a process. That means that there are steps to follow. When you eliminate something, you are going to use those steps to get rid of options that are incorrect, and you're going to do that so that you get rid of those options intelligently. Here's our first example. Read along with me. In the late 1890s, thousands of people crowded into penny arcades across the country to see a remarkable new invention, the movie. Seldom longer than 1 minute, the first movies were simply recordings of everyday events. A distantly speeding train toward the camera or a man watering his garden. These were typical subjects. Because that phrase is underlined and there's a little number 1 next to it, you can tell that that's going to be part of a question. In this situation, the test wants to know if you can identify how to correctly correct the jacked up grammar in this sentence. Now, because I said jacked up grammar, you know that the answer is not going to be letter A. We have started the process of elimination. We know it's not letter B because trains don't speed distantly. That makes no sense. We also know it's not letter D because trains don't speed distantly again. So putting the comma in doesn't make any difference in the correctness of the incorrect option. That leaves answer C as the only truly correct answer for this question. Instead of just marking the first thing we see that we think is correct, if you go through each answer option, you are more likely to be able to figure out the correct option rather than just taking a quick guess. Here's the passage for our second question. Even the pilot was a teenager, it seemed to Macon. He entered the waiting room carrying a clipboard. He read off a list of names. Marshall? Noble? Albright? One by one, the passengers stepped forward. Just 8 or 10 of them. To each, the pilot said, "Hey, how you doing?" He let his eyes rest longest on Muriel. Either he found her the most attractive or else he was struck by her outfit. Here's the question. How did the pilot greet the passengers in the waiting room? To figure that out, you have to go back into the passage and find the part where the pilot is greeting the passengers in the waiting room. He says, to each the pilot said, "Hey, how you doing?" What this lets us know is that we have to go through each of those 4 answer choices to determine if he answered them or greeted them harshly, jokingly, casually, or formally. Now, there's nothing in the text that would indicate he was being harsh with them. There was no reaction from the passengers. There's no tone specified when the pilot said anything, so we know it's not harshly. And we know it's not formally, because if it was formal, he would have said, "Hello, how are you doing?" Not, "Hey, how you doing?" And finally, now that we have it narrowed down to jokingly or casually, you can look at it and realize that nobody's laughing at a joke. So your answer has to be casually. That's the only answer that makes sense in this situation. So now that we've reviewed what the process of elimination is, I need you to understand something. On your next couple of tests, you need to remember in the back of your mind that proof equals points. I need to see proof on your written tests that you understand and are actively using the process of elimination. No proof of process of elimination, no points. Hope this was helpful. Now, take your test.